Hello everyone, welcome to the England Hockey League preview podcast for week 6. I'm Andy Day, your host. Later on, we get a perspective from Richmond on their rise to the Premier Division from captain Scott Wall. We're still feeling the effects of last week's dramatic doubleheader series of games, which ended up breaking a few streaks and extending a couple too. Let's check in first with the Women's Premier Division fixtures for Saturday, the 26th of October. Two fixtures at midday, Sutton Coldfield and Holcombe and University of Nottingham, University of Birmingham. 12:15 is Clifton Robinson's Hampstead and Westminster. 2 o'clock for East Grinstead Bowden. 2:30 for Wimbledon Reading and 5 for Surbiton Loughborough Students. Reading remained 3 points clear at the top of the table after their narrow win at Holcombe and were 9 minutes away from maintaining their perfect record and gaining a win against Surbiton until Darcy Bourne's penalty corner levelled for 4-4. The league leaders venture to Wimbledon, who themselves have drawn 3 and won 1 of their last 5, so this is a meeting of two teams playing very well. Sutton Coldfield's life in the Premier Division has been tough so far. They're still to get off the mark. This weekend, they host Holcombe, who've lost 4 in a row. With both teams in a spell of poor results, this match could be one to keep an eye on. It's the first ever Premier meeting of these two teams. It's an all-university affair at Nottingham Hockey Centre as University of Nottingham welcome University of Birmingham. Just 2 points separates the sides in the league, University of Birmingham in 5th with 10, University of Nottingham in 7th with 8. Both teams are unbeaten in 3 and winning on Saturday, and I fancy this to be very competitive, and given both teams have scored and conceded into double figures, more than a few goals are likely. University of Nottingham also have the league's top scorer, Maddie Axford, on 8 for the season. Clifton Robinsons gained their maiden win of the season last weekend in their 3-2 home win over Loughborough Students and are now unbeaten in 3. Travelling to Bristol are Hampstead and Westminster, who are on a great run of form, winning 5 in a row, including a win at Surbiton, before drawing on Sunday with Wimbledon. It's also a repeat of a fixture from finals weekend. Hampstead and Westminster won 4-2 in April to give them 3rd place. Given the current form, this is my match of the weekend. Surbiton versus Loughborough Students. These two teams have met in every season since 2019-20, and the champions have won every meeting, barring a 0-0 at Loughborough in 2020. Loughborough Students are hoping to move up from their current 5 points total. Surbiton will be regrouping and coming away from doubleheader weekend with 1 point from a possible 6. East Grinstead host Bowden. Both teams have won 3 of their last 5, and these teams met in the league finals phase last season, with a 1-1 draw in 70 minutes, with East Grinstead winning the following shootout 3-1. Barring one big East Grinstead win earlier this year, these fixtures are very close affairs. Another great match on Saturday. Women's top scorer, as mentioned earlier, Maddie Axford of University of Nottingham on 8. When it comes to keeping goals out, East Grinstead's Mila Welsh moves on to 3 clean sheets for the season. And here are the men's fixtures for Saturday. One match at 4 o'clock, Richmond and Hampstead and Westminster. 4:30 for Wimbledon Oxted. 3 fixtures at 6 o'clock, Beeston Southgate, Cardiff and Met Old Georgians, and East Grinstead Surbiton. And the match at 6:30 is Bowden Holcombe. Richmond achieved their debut Premier Division win, besting Bowden 3-1 on Saturday, before coming back to earth with a bump in Cardiff on Sunday. They host Hampstead and Westminster, who have impressed in more than a few games so far this season. The history books tell us that this fixture hasn't been played since 1995 in Tier 2. Hampstead and Westminster have won all their away games this season, but have yet to win at home. Cardiff and Met had a great weekend, 2 wins from 2 and 10 goals scored. That moved them up to 6th. They're next to meet champions Old Georgians, who, despite only a narrow win against Beeston on Saturday, maintain their perfect record of 6 from 6 and are on a season-spanning 20-game winning run. Oxted had been going nicely recently, but lost twice last weekend. They travelled to Wimbledon, who are on a fine run of their own, bouncing back from their opening day defeat to win all their league fixtures since. Wimbledon have always won in Premier Division meetings, and with 4 or more goals scored each time. What chance Oxford making a dent in that record this Saturday? One to watch out for. Southgate broke their run of defeats with a 4-3 win on Sunday versus Bowden. They head to Beeston on Saturday, who themselves lost both matches against Old Georgians and Surbiton, but showed promise in defeat. This fixture last season was a pulsating 2-2 draw, and both teams have players that know where the goal is. Beeston's Henry Croft is on 7, and Southgate's Archie Foster is on 6. Looks like a fabulous fixture, and it's my pick of the round. East Grinstead hosts Surbiton at 6 p.m. Surbiton dropping their first points of the season last weekend. East Grinstead's season has seen more losses than wins, and they sit in 9th place with 6 points. East Grinstead have been waiting a long time for a home win over Surbiton, just over 10 years in fact. Bowden versus Holcombe. Bowden, whilst they remain winless, recent results have been encouraging. Holcombe are cracking along pretty well, and would have won against Surbiton if it wasn't for a 70th minute penalty corner equaliser. Been a while since these teams last met, the promotion tournament back in 2014-15 at Cannock. What might happen this Saturday? Your men's top scorers. Old Georgians' Sam Ward is on 10. Strawn Walker of Surbiton just one behind on 9. Don't forget to visit England Hockey's socials for full listings of games and details of where games are being streamed. Now it's time to talk to Scott Wall, captain of Richmond Hockey Club. How are you doing today, Scott?
All good, thank you, Andy.
2 promotions in 2 seasons. What's been the secret to your success at Richmond?
There are a lot of different metrics to have impacted the success we've had over the last couple of years. There are a lot of different factors. I think the biggest one which stands out to me is the overall culture of the squad that we've had. We have over 40 people, 40 men playing within the 1s and 2s, and we all, are very much pulling in the same way. We have a good mix of ages, but the majority of the guys are in that, nice period of between 24 and 30, so we're all sort of at the same stage of life, so we all understand hockey for us over the last couple of years has been a release from work, day-to-day lives, stresses, and we've really, become ingrained in the culture that we've created where we're all there to have a good time. And with that, I think, we're all big firm believers of if you're having a good time in the week and on the weekends after games, performances, actions, and, the weekend performances, shall we say, come with that. But that's not to say there hasn't been any negatives along the way, but everyone pulling on the same rope in the same direction, in my opinion, has been the biggest driving factor over the last couple of years.
And I suppose that can really lean onto something you've been celebrating recently. You've got your 150th anniversary, you've got your promotion, and also your debut win against Bowden on Saturday, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I'm not sure which one was a bigger celebration, to be honest. 150th, that was a huge, momentous moment for the club, which we all celebrated in the right way. A few sore heads in the morning for sure. We were at Twickenham, now formerly known as Allianz Twickenham. And yeah, we managed to get the first win against Bowden on the weekend, a good 3-1 win. A hard-fought win, I must say. And it was nice to get that and a bit of a confidence boost after a tough run of results in the opening 4 weekends.
Looking towards this Saturday's fixture, it's a home match against Hampstead and Westminster. Do you enter that now with that extra confidence?
I don't think it's extra confidence. I think it allows us to understand what we did well and what we need to continue pushing on this week and, for the remaining few weeks of this half of the season. Hampstead will be a different type of opposition to Bowden. They've been in the league for goodness knows how long, but we know their threats and we know what they're good at. And so it's about understanding that, but also from our perspective, looking inwards and knowing what we do well and how we can press home those sorts of advantages. And playing at home is always nice. We haven't had too many games at home so far this year, and when we've had a double header the day after. So it's nice to have a home Saturday game with then, not having to travel elsewhere on the Sunday.
What's been the experience for both you and the club in the Premier Division?
Very neutral, I think. It's been a definite eye opener over the last couple of years for sure. But we were expecting that. It's been a tough start to the year. The standard from obviously Conference East to Division 1 South goes up. However, the standard from Division 1 South to the Premiership goes up, multiple more times. So we knew it was going to be tough. We knew there were going to be some results which we just have to lick our wounds and crack on with it. But we're hoping, particularly as we get to the latter half of this half of the year, and we've got more experience in playing in the league, and then next half of the year when we're either in, most likely the bottom six, and we can play teams who we will be more accustomed to their style of play, we can drive that forward and continue to try and push and get results.
Of course, Richmond had quite a big change over the summer. If you'd like to talk us through that.
Yes, it's been an interesting time, but it's all fallen into place now. David Goodfield was our head coach for the last 3 years, and obviously took us to those back-to-back promotions. Now we've played him and might play him again this year. He's taken a step back from the men's ones coach and is now working his magic with our men's twos. They're currently 5 wins from 5, a plus goal difference of about 28. So that's brilliant news for them, and they're pushing for, again, promotion this year and next year, and they're doing brilliantly. Our manager also stepped away, Ben Blake, at the back end of last year to spend more time with his family. So changes in regards to match day management. We've got Hamish Imrie from the University of Edinburgh, who's doing brilliantly and working us hard. And then we've also got Jono Anderson taking on the manager role. So there was always going to be some facilitation and time needed to get those guys up to speed, and they've done it brilliantly since pre-season. And obviously, as with any new year, we've had an influx of players ranging from men's ones all the way down to men's 4s or 5s. We've actually had to create a new men's team at Richmond, which is brilliant. So lots of changes happening, but we're in a good spot now, and we're looking forward to continuing to grow together as the season moves on.
Scott Wall, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Andy.
6 down, 5 to play in the first phase, and there's still time for almost anything to happen. Get to a game this Saturday and support your clubs. I've been your host, Andy Day. Join me again next week for your essential quick guide to the upcoming fixtures.